So the freemen worked in very.
The Kingdom Hearts series has sold a total of 36 million copies. This makes it the 6th most popular JRPG series, just under Monster Hunter. But what are the specific entries that make up this number? At number 10 is Kingdom Hearts 2.8, coming in at 1.3 million. At number 9 is the original version of Dream Drop Distance, also coming in at 1.3 million. Number 8 is Chain of Memories, hitting a total of 1.6 million copies sold for the Game Boy Advance. Number 7 is the original version of Kingdom Hearts 1.5 for PlayStation 3, coming in at 1.6 million. Number 6 is 358 Over 2 Days for Nintendo DS, selling a whopping 1.7 million. Number 5 is Birth by Sleep for PlayStation Portable at 1.7. Number 4 is 1.5 plus 2.5, coming in at 1.8 million. Number 3 is Kingdom Hearts 2 at 5.2 million. Number 2 is Kingdom Hearts 1 at 6.3 million. And the best-selling Kingdom Hearts game of all time is Kingdom Hearts 3, coming in at 6.7 million. Will Kingdom Hearts 4 end up outselling it? The Kingdom Hearts series has sold a total of 36 million copies. This makes it the 6th most popular JRPG series, just
Ever since the original Final Fantasy released way back in 1987, players have embarked on quests that have seen them trying to defeat the evil foe that's trying to rain down fiery hell on civilization. But they've also been on more personal quests to try and unlock the most powerful weapons in the game, so that when they did choose to square off against said evil foe, there would be no quarter shown. It would mean the ensuing battle or battles would be swift, with damage caps being hit at every turn. Now, some of these weapons have been relatively easy to obtain, as they can naturally be unlocked through progression with the main story. Cloud's Ultima weapon springs to mind here, as does Lightning's Ultima weapon in Lightning Returns. But for every ultimate weapon that's just handed to you on a silver platter, there are many, many more that require either plenty of time, skill, just sheer luck, or a combination of all three in order to obtain them. Some of them, as I'm sure you can appreciate, are much more difficult to obtain than others, and this was a topic that was actually suggested for us to cover by one of our premium Patreon supporters by Anna Ahern, as they wanted us to run through what we feel are the hardest ultimate weapons to obtain across the numbered series titles. Now, for reference, as pretty much all of the celestial weapons in Final Fantasy X are particularly difficult to obtain, albeit for different reasons, we've made the decision that we're only going to be featuring one of them in this particular video. We also won't be including weapons that are difficult to obtain on blind playthroughs, because as a player, you just didn't know any better. Examples of this would be Barrett's missing score or the Zodiac Spear from the original Final Fantasy XII. And while we're on the subject of exclusions, we will also be omitting Sighting Grap from the Zodiac Age, as even though it should be an absolute brat to obtain, astute gamers have now found a way to 100% guarantee its acquisition, so it therefore is much more of a formality and isn't that difficult to obtain. So anyway, with those disclaimers out of the way, my name is Daryl, and these are, in my opinion at least, the 7 ultimate weapons that are probably the hardest to obtain. Starting with the relic weapons in Final Fantasy XI. As Final Fantasy XI looked to expand beyond its initial tentative steps into the realm of the MMORPG, Square Enix launched its first expansion, which was dubbed Rise of the Zealot. This added a whole host of new content, including new jobs, new characters, new regions, new story missions, and most importantly, new weapons. Now, anyone who, like me, played Final Fantasy XI back in these heady early days knows that almost everything about the game was based around patience, dedication, and teamwork, and unlocking the relic weapons back then was perhaps the biggest testament to this. Upon obtaining level 65, rank 6 in any of the starter nations, and by fulfilling some rather specific requirements, players could work towards obtaining a relic weapon by entering the realm of Dynamis, an alternate universe version of Vana'diel that was quite literally the stuff of nightmares. Once inside, players would have an initial time limit of 1 hour to defeat as many enemies as possible, with the hope of obtaining a relic starter weapon and as much ancient currency as possible, as this would be needed to upgrade the starter weapon to its ultimate form. Now, including the initial starter weapon, there were 5 stages you would need to go through to unlock the true potential of a relic weapon, and as you'd expect, at each stage the requirements for either time or wealth would get more and more demanding. As a general rule of thumb, the first upgrade would need approximately 300 to 400 of an ancient currency, the next would need 1400 to 1600, the next would need 6000 to 6200, and the final stage would need another 10,000. In today's market, if we're going by prices on the Asura server, if you were to purchase what you would need for just the first stage from the auction house, then this would cost you approximately 2.6 million gil. For comparison, the last stage would cost you approximately 20 million gil, and then you'd need to add on all the time spent at each stage to not only acquire the gil, but to farm the non-tradable or auctionable items that can only be obtained from defeating enemies in Dynamis. This process was an absolute ball ache back when I played Final Fantasy XI between 2003 and 2006, and I'm not exaggerating at all. If memory serves correctly, it could take months for an alliance of endgame Link Shell members to obtain just one, I repeat one, of these maxed out relic weapons, and it meant that if the person who was lucky enough to be the recipient of said relic weapon then just happened to leave the Link Shell, well then let's just say that people could become very angry very quickly. I don't know of any instances where it led to actual aggravation in real life, as we saw in some other MMOs, but either way it wouldn't be a pleasant experience. Now, as the game has developed further, the developers have built upon the concept of relic weapons Ever since the original Final Fantasy released way back in 1980, but they've also been on more personal quests to try and unlock the most powerful weapons in the game, so that when they did choose to square off against said evil foe, there would be no quarter shown. It would mean the ensuing battle or battles would be
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest creators in all of creatordom has been lying about something to do with EVE Online. And I have firsthand knowledge to tell you what that lie is and what actually happened. I am talking, of course, about someone you might recognize. Yep, this is Pirate Software, also known to the EVE community as Maldavius. Okay, we're going to talk about what's happened, what actually happened, and why this kind of stuff hurts the majority of EVE players, this kind of lies being said and purported. We're going to talk about it, okay? So
we were Triglavians, triangle people, right? Aliens. And this is a faction inside of the game. We decided as players to align ourselves with this, and we moved all over the game for about 1 year, traveling around with no home, going and fighting this war that went on to turn certain areas of space into lawless land, right? And we went all over the place. We took all these different stars, and it was fun. It was super awesome, but we didn't really have a home. We never had a place to live, and having ownership over your space in EVE is kind of a big deal. So when we got...
So if you don't know what the heck he's talking about, if you're a brand new EVE player, he's talking about the founding of Pochvin. He's talking about the founding of the Triglavian area in space. These star systems used to be in high sec. I think there was maybe one in low sec. I don't remember. It's been a long time. It's been a couple years. These systems were basically in flux between becoming Pochvin or not, and the players could choose which ones would go into Pochvin, roughly speaking, by fighting for the Triglavian, aligning themselves with the Triglavian collective, with that side, that reputation, okay? The star systems ended up becoming Pochvin, and that's this triangle. And we say it's a triangle because there's a lot of, like, triangle stuff to do with Pochvin. A lot of their reactors, their, like, little mini-suns are housed in, like, a triangle matrix. What's the thing from Avengers? You know what I'm talking about? Tesseract. It's housed in like a triangle tesseract, stuff like that. The literal star system is in the shape of a triangle. That's why some of you watching are like, Laura, what's up with all the triangles, bro? You know, this is just part of the lore. That's that. So this is about the founding of Pochvin. This Pirate Software guy is Maldavius. That's his character name in the game, and he and many other people fought for the founding of Pochvin. Let's keep listening.
Got 27 stars. Those stars formed into a place in space, a pocket dimension called Pochvin that looked like this. And we owned a full third of this, because as we had been taking these stars, we were dropping structures in them. And when it moved into Pochvin, those structures stayed. And now they couldn't be replaced. If a structure gets destroyed in Pochvin, it never comes back. You can never...
This is unique to Pochvin. Okay, this is a unique thing to Pochvin. It's very important because this is literally why the entire thing we're about to listen to happened. They were placing structures in these star systems before they went into Pochvin, before they like regressed into this like subsystem area into Pochvin itself, right? We're placing structures, we're doing these things, and once it becomes Pochvin, you can't place any more structures. This is a rule in Pochvin. It's one of the things that makes the area unique and different from, say, nullsec or even wormhole space, because Pochvin, you can't place structures. This is a big deal. If we have non-EVE players doing this, placing structures gives you not just a foothold, it doesn't just give you staging or a foothold, it is a massive deal because it gives your entire corp a place to be. There's more stuff you can do. You can dictate tax rates. There's a lot of things you can do from a player-owned station comparatively to an NPC-owned station that anybody can just come in. You can even set who can dock in the station if you own it, if your corp alliance owns it. So if we have non-EVE players watching this, a corp is a guild, and an alliance is a group of corporations, a group of guilds. An alliance is a big thing, a corp is a smaller thing, still big depending on what we're talking about, okay? So, you know.
Anchor a new one, it's gone. So these were unique, and we were the powerhouse that owned that space. The problem was this: it didn't work. It was broken. When we got to that section of space, they had one piece of content. This was called a dread site raid. The dread sites, for the first like 2 or 3 months, did not function. Imagine going into a raid with 15 people, and you kill the boss, and then afterwards, the boss gives you negative reputation and negative money. That's what happened, and every week we would talk to the devs, and every week they would try to get us to test it on live servers again with our...
Okay, so first thing, this is correct. This is what happened. When Pochvin became its own thing, when the star systems in HiSec went to Pochvin, when Pochvin was established, the dread sites he's talking about, which would become / whatever, are the observatory flashpoints today, and other similar sites, whatever. These sites were broken. They would not function correctly. The NPCs were weird. You would get negative rep. This is a big deal. You might say negative rep, who cares? because you see that this is all these star systems. Imagine all of these are little dots that make up this triangle-shaped star system. The gates, you couldn't activate the star gates unless you had a certain reputation. So the sites in the area would stop you from navigating around the area. This was not intended. This was not like a part of the game. That's too, that would be too tedious, and that was not part of the game. Okay, so everything he's saying is correct so far. The first thing I want to talk about is something he ended with just now.
Negative reputation and negative money. That's what happened. And every week we would talk to the devs, and every week they would try to get us to test it on live servers again with our live characters for 2.5 to 3 months. We lost 70% of our online players.
I'm going to get to the 70% number in just a sec. So the devs did work with players to try to help see what the problem was. I want you to, this is my first issue with this video. I want you to see how he's describing this. There's a lot of bitterness. There's a lot of, I'm going to call it entitlement for some from some of the stuff he says later in the video. This is my first problem with this. I understand it's frustrating. This is frustrating. We're going to say this a bunch of times in this video. You work really hard to establish an area of space, the areas in the space that have these sites to play, these things to do, and they're broken. That is frustrating. We all agree, we all understand. The devs are asking for your help. What game happens like that? The devs are QAing on their side. They're also working with the players to see, literally show me what's wrong. This is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. But how he says it is like, and the devs got us to test it on live. It doesn't have a good spirit to it. It doesn't have a cooperative spirit to it. I understand he's frustrated. A lot of people back in the day were very frustrated with Pochfin. But to say this like, you know, the devs made us test it live, that's a good thing that the devs actually gave a crap to sit down and work with you in some extent, instead of like just giving you a stiff arm and not talking to you at all. So it's better than having no communication. That's my first point here. So let's keep, this is not why I wanted to make this video. Let's keep talking. Okay.
There's for 2.5 to 3 months. We lost 70% of our online players. About half of these people never came back. It was a goddamn mess. And we got pissed. And eventually they finally fixed it, but then they put a target on our back.
Yeah, and before we get to the target, and before we get to, you know, this happened too. 70% of the players quit. Of course they did. Look, chat, if you work for months to establish an area of space, you know EVE is about the stories, okay? EVE is about the player-driven stories. It's not the devs necessarily giving the overarching narrative. It's one of the things that makes EVE Online unique and special. Devs put in place this system where, hey, you can help corrupt these systems and put them into this different area of space, and you helped make it. And then that happens. They work really hard, it gets to that point, and then the main ISK faucet, the main like money generator in the area is broken. 70% of the players left. Now, I don't know if this number is accurate, but I can tell you that I believe this number. I believe this number because this is freaking ridiculous. It is. Here's my first big point. 70% of the players quit. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're playing a video game, and this is a video game, EVE Online, and this, even if you work for a couple months to like establish something, if the sites are broken, submit a bug report and go to a different area of space. Okay? I just said something that's very unpopular with a lot of EVE players. There's this, I fought for this. I worked for this. I'm going to make this work even if it's broken. Ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing a video game. Okay? I care about all of you watching, both live and on the VOD. I want you to understand that games are supposed to be something we enjoy. They're supposed to be something we do to entertain ourselves, to hang out with our buddies. And if you're punishing yourself by being in an area of space where stuff's broken and everybody's leaving, isn't everybody leaving sign that maybe you, as the head of an alliance, should take your people and leave? I think so. Now, I'm not an alliance head, but I have been a GM in World of Warcraft and other guilds in the past and other games in the past. If I'm watching my player base leave, I'm not going to make an executive decision to stay and suffer through all of this. I'm going to say, hey guys, we need to go to a different area of space because this is not working. Because it's, my goal is the joy of the people that are under me. Not blaming CCP Games for people leaving. To be clear, it's their bug. They gotta fix it. It's their game, they gotta fix it. But if there's a bug, submit a bug report. If it's that bad, go to another area of space. EVE Online is the biggest MMO, I think. Probably is. In terms of amount of content, you could do a new activity in EVE every day for the next year, and there's still be plenty of content to do. Jump clones are a thing. You're correct, Cyber. So now, to be the devil's advocate, you work this hard to establish something in space, to do all this work, to finally, like, you're the founding Pochfin Alliances, Pochfin corporations. Then the sites don't work. That is frustrating. I'll give him that. But, well, let's keep listening.
And eventually they finally fixed it, but then they put a target on our back because they have this thing inside of EVE Online called the Economic Report. The Economic
Cloud, by analyzing the LifeSpring data, I was able to locate this one appears abandoned after the Republic exploring old...
Won't take long. My turn. Too bad.
I'm your one-stop clobbering shop. Ready for a smackdown? How do you like this?
That it?
Gotcha! Little... Don't give up. Get lost, huh? Here I go!
We do this fast. Taking over. Going in.
Was that it?
Let's do this.
Okay. I could do that again. Make way, idiot. Watch yourself.
My turn. I won't give up.
You bring it, I'll be dead. Do this right. All set. Keep it up. Come on. Not that. Oh, it's over. Up you go. Not bad, but not my best. Over with.
Let's do this. You're mine.
Too late. Okay.
That's it. Going in.
Come on, catch him there. Hope you learned your lesson.
Don't hold back.
You're up.
Hang back.
Gotcha.
Damn it. That it?
Don't give up. Gotcha. That's a good word to describe me. I'm thinking legendary. Watch yourself.
Taking over. Let's do this.
We're done here. Was that it? Ha, there. Ha. Now for stay strong. Okay. That's it.
You're up. Best do it right.
I'm so glad that it clearly explains the mechanic here of they cannot be attacked while flitting through the air. You know, because I can clearly identify. It's just like such a common thing to understand, to look for, that an enemy that I know anyone would know when they're looking at something when it's flitting through the air, right? Like, tell me, is it flitting through the air right now? Is that a flit? Is that a flit? Is that a flit? Is it flitting? Is it all a flit? Is it all flitting? Is it all part of the flit? I don't know. It never stops dodging. Look at this, it never stops dodging. It just never stops dodging. It's not stopped dodging yet. It's not stopped dodging. It's still not stopped dodging. Oh, it attacked me. It still hasn't stopped dodging. Oh, it took 1 point of damage there. Well, I guess it's flitting again, which is continuing to flit away. I don't know what that means. Patience is key. Patience for what? Patience for what? Patience for what? Is it flitting right now? Is that a flit? What's a flit?
Do it! Not bad. Won't last long. Let's go. Say no more. Do it! Let's go. Let's finish this. Only the strong survive.
Holy fuck, this is annoying. What an annoying mechanic. What an annoying mechanic. I guess you have to put it on someone else. Like you are required. My favorite thing, whenever I encounter it in a video game, you are required in order to do this to put it on an AI character and have them do it. Because it's just fucking possible.
Should be pretty easy.
After you.
Guess it's my turn. Give them hell.
Gotta be there's enough. You're up. Got it.
Keep it up.
Keep it together.
Bring it home!
Hang back. Take the lead. Ready when you are.
It's over!
This.
You're up!
Let's do this.
I don't understand the requirements. Like, look how little life it has, and the casting, and the fact that you cannot